people that have no problem watching actual history burn. When rioters were toppling statues of George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Ulysses S. Grant, Abraham Lincoln, they said nothing. They didn't shed a tear or write an op-ed about the loss of history. Nothing. When they burned St. John's Church, which is across the street from the White House, this is a church where every president since James Madison has worshipped. The press didn't call that burning, some sort of a desecration. They actually called it, quote, an expression of grief. So forgive me if I don't buy into their outrage, because this is not about preservation. All of this is about politics. All of this is a distraction, and none of it is about history. It's all about hate. When they obsess over chandeliers and garden paths that you're not going to pay for, while our cities are crumbling with crime, their voices are silent on the cities. In fact, they say that's beautiful, but look at the desecration here, please. Federal officers are now under siege. They're being targeted. Congress is paralyzed with cowardice. The Democrats are playing this tired game of survival. Republicans are mumbling about fiscal restraint, but the Democrats are pushing for more spending and threatening a longer shutdown just to please the radical and dangerous left, their base. By the way, I think the Chuck Schumers of the Democrats actually fear literal guillotines in the streets from their so-called supporters on the very left. They're cowards. So, no, this is not about a ballroom or a rose garden or Donald Trump. Here's what this story is really about. It's a mirror. It's a mirror, and the reflection is damning. What is being exposed now isn't excess or ego, but the pettiness of the ruling class that despises restoration, hates beauty, and cannot stand the idea that someone might build something lasting privately and with pride because they're serving the nation. The real scandal here is not in the White House or what's being done to the White House. The real scandal is what is happening every day in the newsrooms all across America, where truth was evicted long before the roses ever were evicted from the rose garden. The hypocrisy and the constant, why do we listen to people who have been wrong every step of the way? Why are we listening to these people? I mean, Stu came in today and he said, what was it? As a historian, I can't believe you're more upset.
Guy who runs a museum or, I think, because I'm the type that I think they look like real improvements, and it doesn't really bother me. But I'm surprised a guy who, I think if they changed, a piece of, you go in there and describe every single thing in the Oval Office, and you talk to me at length for hours and hours and endless hours.
1794, not 1940. 1794. You touch the interior or the exterior of the White House, and you're not doing with preservation in mind. I mean,
right.
Truman
certainly more.
There were boards in the White House from the War of 1812, the char marks. Mm-hmm. Truman took all of that and threw it away. Okay, he just took it to the studs of the White House. Now all of it needed to happen, but nobody was saying anything about that during Truman. But that's the White House itself and the War of 1812.
Again, I tend to not really care about these things, but let me just. You're not at all surprised at the process. For example, we were told as of a couple of days ago that we have diagrams of it. We've showed them on the air.
Yep.
That a small, just the facade of the outside of the East Wing was coming down, and then just kind of offhanded in a press conference with a couple of reporters.
Yeah.
Donald Trump says, actually, we're knocking the entire East Wing down.
That's
not a surprising
I restored a
process.
Home, an 1821 home in Connecticut. Don't ever do it.
Yeah, I remember this.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm restoring this home, And because of a slight change that I make, it's pole, post, and beam, a beam shears, and all of a sudden my ceilings are coming down and the house is splitting in half. Okay? When you are doing restoration, when you're doing construction on something like this, you can get into it and go, okay, this is a nightmare. This is going to cost us a lot more. It's not going to be worth it. Tear the thing down. It's 100 years old. Rebuild it to look exactly the same. Put modern engineering in it. Make sure that it lasts. Make sure that it stands. Let's just gut this thing. It's a lot easier to do. Rebuild it looking exactly the same while preserving the historic artifacts in it.
This is Glenn Beck.
How is that not reasonable? I just don't get it.